What's going on, Soul Tribe? I salute the divinity in you, and welcome to my channel, Alchemist. Justin here, and bringing another little nugget to add to the Soul Tribe archive. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the North Node in Gemini in the first house. I was looking at this independent thinker. But when you talk about the North Node you may hear referred to as the Dragon's Head or as Rahu, and it's always in when you're talking about the first node or the first node, the north node, you'll be talking about the south node as well because they're always in opposition with one another. They're the eclipse points or the lunar nodes. And where you can think of the south node is where you've been, past information, wisdom that you can call upon. That's to help you decide where you're going to be going to next, which is going to be the north node. And these, I like to think of it as where the north node falls. This area of your chart is one that's needing more attention, that's wanting more mastery over it, and where you can find this real kind of sense of achievement with the north node there. You have gems with both of them that can help you grow in ways that's really incredible. So yeah, definitely something to think about when you're working with the nodes there. And then you talk about Gemini. They are ruled by Mercury, and they're the mutable air sign. They are active or yang in nature. And there is this really, and I'm just talking about Gemini energy in general, there's this curiosity that comes with Gemini. And yeah, they're the communicators of the Zodiac, the active thinkers. Gemini is not, and it's not just about, and granted, yeah, they're walking libraries, but it's, there's this thing of being able to not just absorb all that information, but to be able to talk about it intelligently, as quick as they learn it. So there's a quickness and swiftness that comes with that. That air is free, really free to just kind of roam about and do its thing. And so hence that's why, information really travels well with Gemini, because they're just here, you're there, talking to this or messaging that. So, but there's also too, I think, a very improvisational and ingenious side of Gemini. There's this cleverness that they have to be able to think on their toes and just really kind of work with the moment, not really being impeded by anything. What can trap the wind? You got to really work hard to bottle that air up. So there's just something there, kind of there with that too when you're thinking about Gemini. But then you talk about the first house. This in traditional astrology was known as the horoscopus or the hour marker. But this is the ascendant. And this is where the ascendant lives. That one actually, I work with whole sign houses. So the ascendant has a specific degree point. But some of the themes that the first house are going to cover are going to be like the body, the vessel, the thing that houses the soul. This is like the vital life force here. You manifest it. This can deal with like your appearance. This can also contribute to like your physical constitution. If you got planets here. This can be about your temperament, your character, your manner of speech, or excuse me, your manner of speech. This can also be the house is like the beginning of all actions. So when you're working with this placement, some things to think about. One, real easy one, you'd have a Gemini rising by whole sign. But you're going to also want to look to see where Mercury's at, because Mercury's going to be in charge of this house and of your fourth house, which is like your house of your parents, your home, your ancestors, even just your general foundation of you. So yeah, definitely have a relationship with Mercury. But some things that I would talk about with this person is really encouraged to be like, how curious are you about yourself and the things that you are capable of? Do you find yourself just sort of like doing just like, kind of a jack of all trades, or do you have something that you're really like a master at? Someone that you can like have a real solid expertise in? Because that's really something I think that's going to be very important for this person, to have a real strong sense of who you are. And the contrast with this being on such a strong, having the nodes on such a strong axis, because this is on the angular houses. And so when when we're thinking about that relationship between the first house and the seventh house, that house of other, the relationship house, it's not that where you're not, it's not like you can't get married or not be in a relationship, but your relationships are really not there to define you. They can help enhance, that same thing, of course, a reciprocity there, but this is more so about having a stronger sense of who you are and who you want to become, and to be able to be with people, because Gemini is very fluid, very just like could be here 1 minute, there 1 minute, have an opinion about this, and then switch it the next. But so I think that there is too about making sure to have those relationships that support that sort of curiosity about self, that keep that fire alive. But I think it's just making sure that you not just letting other people, like keep you, keep your energy up, but you keeping this up. This is going to be a lot about, it's the house of beginning of all action. So what do you want to start up? What are you here for? And this doesn't have to be where it's like you have to have everything solved right now, but do you feel like you're in alignment here? Or have you just been kind of going just sort of to and fro? It's again just a little curious about something, but then never following through, but yeah, I would say, yeah, keep your mind active, and I would say be mindful of what you consume, just kind of mentally, allowing yourself some time to decompress, to get some air. You can still be active, maybe talking or whatever, but just make sure to get outside. That can maybe help move some of that nervous energy. And if you can't be outside all the time, at least maybe have like a window open just so that the air doesn't get stagnant, maybe even working with like incense or like aromatherapy, maybe essential oils, things like that. That might be something too. I think for clarity, I think rosemary oil is a nice one to work with. Or just just take some rosemary and just boil some. That could be just very therapeutic and feel that gets the house smelling all savory. Maybe just can bring down the vibes. Very natural kind of candle there. So or just kind of you know what I mean. So, but I would say this to me, this temperament, explore what does Gemini energy mean to you. I think that's another important thing to do when you have especially like focuses on the first house. Like, yeah, how do you understand Gemini energy? In what sort of like general terms, do you find yourself like, are you the talker, or maybe you find yourself being a bit more shy, so you needed to get out of your comfort zone, kind of talk a bit more, socialize a bit more, because there is that contrast. Gemini's not just always talking. There is the duality of Gemini, the listening aspect. They're just like the taking everything in and just observing. There's a sharpness, I think, that's not mentioned with the Gemini as well. They can pick up on the nuances and things. So, and just be mindful of just like what you learn in your relationships, and maybe how you do things may not always resonate with other people, and it's respecting that and honoring that, and figuring out the happy medium for those relationships. But again, this is more sort of self-focused. Again, the world doesn't revolve around you. Liz, I got a heavy first house placement, so Liz, I get it. But the world doesn't revolve around you. I got Saturn in the 7th, so I'm reminded about that all the time. But just some things this is just some like very general things that I would talk about with someone in this placement. You definitely need the whole chart to have a better idea of what's going on. And if that's something that you want to do, just work really, get curious about yourself. I have my moon in Gemini, so we'll definitely chat it up. I actually know some Gemini risings. I enjoy Gemini energy, but if that's something that you're curious, get curious, that pique your curiosity, check that description box, and there's a link to get in touch with me. We can discuss the services that I provide, and then go from there, and then just grow. And if you have this placement or know somebody who's working with this placement, down, I actually know someone. Do I know someone with this placement? No, I don't. Oh no, yes I do. I do know one person with this placement. But down in the comment section, talk about how you've been working with this placement, and how what themes have showed up for you. And if you also on this channel, I talk about the transits that Jupiter's actually going through your first house right now, depending on when you're watching this. So this would have been a great time over this year to think about how Jupiter has been expanding who you are, how you've grown, how maybe your way of thinking about what you're capable of who you are. Again, improv, be imaginative when it comes with Gemini. But even though big Jupiter is not at his greatest here, it's still Jupiter. He'll still give you something, then possibly a lot of something, especially in Gemini. You just got to figure out what to do with it. That might be what's happening. You have an overload of information, but then it's like you got to put that puzzle together. So, but that's something to think about. Like I do the weekly transits there, and yeah, talk about all that information so you can kind of follow this through your houses and see what's going on, what themes are activated for you. And then if you want to work with the moon, another very important placement, the Chariot and Friends. That's my other channel, and I do videos every time the moon changes signs and talk about what phase she's in and when she's going for the course, and do an I Ching reading and a tarot card reading. So it's just all types of mysticism for you. So, but until next time, stay mindful out there. Keep raising that vibration through the roof, and I will catch you on the next one. Later.